that's a scary thing that is happening with Victor Wembanyama, to have I mean, it's a blood clot, and that is just something that when you talk about the NBA, we've seen it before, and you just hope that this is a one-time thing, that he'll be healthy in time for the start of next season, begin training camp, which will be his third NBA season, and that we don't have to think about it anymore. I mean, he's already such a unique physical presence. Like, there's not many guys you can compare him to in NBA history. And to think that he has something that is, an imperfection with his body is scary. It's concerning, and hopefully it's something that can just stay in this season. In terms of the basketball, I will say the Spurs, I don't believe were going to make any kind of noise this season. They haven't been playing the best basketball going into the break. I know they had a very important win against the Phoenix Suns Thursday night. What they needed was to play these games, to have a chance to develop the chemistry that is required to build off of that into future seasons where they plan on being a fixture in the playoff picture. They just made a trade for De'Aaron Fox, and now, all you have is those handful of games that they played with Fox this month. So you can't really, you have to wait to build off of that as well. Any time a young team in San Antonio, despite the presence of veterans like Fox and Chris Paul and Harrison Barnes, I mean, CP and HB especially, those guys have helped the Spurs go from one of the very worst teams in the league last year, even with Wemby, to a team that was hovering around 500 this year. And so, having that veteran presence, being able to play in meaningful games, even if you're not going to ultimately make the playoffs in the Western Conference, that was important. We're not getting a chance to see Victor Wembanyama help lead his young team through that.
Absolutely. And it is very scary what is happening with him. And hopefully he does make a recovery and it doesn't happen again. Without him, though, it does open up the Defensive Player of the Year race and the odds for that to other players. And it seems to be a two-man race up at the top. Is there a player you think, like one out of all of them, who would win Defensive Player of the Year?
I'm looking at Jaren Jackson Jr. and I'll tell you what, the Grizzlies got absolutely lit up in Indiana Thursday night, so that's not going to be a great look for Trip going forward. But I think that Jaren's having a fantastic year defensively. He's won that award before. Again, last night he dealt with foul trouble, but I feel like a big part of Jaren being effective this season has simply been being on the floor and not having the foul issues that he's had in the past. He's averaging a career low fouls while being a multi-positional defender. He's not blocking as many shots as he did when he won the award. Uh, I think 2023 is when he won his first Defensive Player of the Year award. But the Grizzlies, they've been better defensively. They've been top five at times. They're in the top 10 defensively. That Grizzlies team is second in the West. They're playing really well. And a lot of it is Jaren Jackson just being available, being there to be a perimeter defender, a defender at the rim, and a guy who really, if you look at Memphis's team, like, he's the one special defender that they have around a bunch of guards and a bunch of rookies. He would be my front runner. I thought he deserved consideration even before Wemby's illness and condition that is going to shorten his season. And so I like Jaren more than a guy like Dyson, who Dyson has the numbers for sure as far as the steals go, but Dyson does not have the team performance. Atlanta's defense is not that good, and actually it's better when Dyson is not on the floor.
We're talking with Law Murray. He is the Clippers writer for The Athletic. Follow him on X at Law Murray, the NU. Law, I got to ask about your Clippers here, sitting at sixth place in the West. So have they performed up to your expectations for this season? And can they be better in the second half?
I think they've exceeded expectations, even my own. I thought the Clippers
Yeah.
were going to be right there in the middle of the West. Most people, probably your network, had them in the bottom five entering this season. So I think by anyone's expectations, they've exceeded those expectations. The fact that they are in a top six spot at this portion of the season, considering the fact that Kawhi Leonard, their best player, didn't debut until the first weekend in January, they should be pretty happy about that. But we're into the post All-Star break portion of the year now, and they can't really rest on what they've done before. They have to keep going because the goal isn't to get off to this relatively great start to the season just to plateau or just to fall off. With all the changes that they made with Kawhi coming back and playing consistently. So last night was a bad look for them. They have trailed by double digits in every single game in February. And you can make up a number of excuses as to why that is. It's nice that out of those 7 games, they've won 3 of them. That's 3 double-digit comebacks. That's nice and all, but they need to play better basketball. They need to start winning games against teams that have winning records. They need to start winning games on the road. They need to start winning games consecutively. This is a big stretch for them that started last night in Milwaukee. They're not playing another home game this month, so they're in a good spot. It's always nice to say that you're in a spot where if you just maintain your position, you don't have to go through the play-in tournament. But their greatest work, even though they've done a lot to this point, they have a lot more to do.
Yeah, another team in the West, the Warriors, seem like they will be an interesting team to watch in the second half to see how Jimmy Butler continues to fit with them. If he can take this team maybe on some kind of run, they are 10th in the West, vying for a play-in spot. Do you think the Warriors will be able to get it done down the stretch, earn a spot in the play-in tournament, or is it just wait till next season maybe?
I mean, they can't wait till next season. They made this trade to maximize the players that they have, and that is Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, and Stephen Curry. I love the fit basketball-wise with Jimmy. Jimmy Butler comes from a movement-heavy offense with the Miami Heat. I think people who really watch the Heat play basketball, you see who the Heat played through. I mean, Bam Adebayo gets a lot of touches, while Draymond Green is the originator of that style of offense. Getting in the half court and having your big more or less be the focal point of who's getting the basketball, if not necessarily finishing plays. Like Draymond doesn't finish plays, but he is a premier connector. He's the guy who helps Steph Curry get his shots. Tyler Hero emerged as an all-star this year, and Tyler spoke often about how he wanted his shot profile to look more like Steph Curry's. Well, now Jimmy's going from playing with an emerging all-star in Tyler Hero to, the greatest of all time in the style of play that he has in Stephen Curry. Like, those guys don't have a lot of great basketball left in them as far as like next year or seasons down the line. I know Jimmy got his extension, but that extension is to make Jimmy happy and to have him lock in and focus to helping this team get into the play-in tournament and hopefully survive it. The Warriors do not have a great history in the play-in tournament. If you go back to previous years, you saw last year what happened. They went to Sacramento and they were terrible in the play-in tournament. So Jimmy gives them a great chance to succeed. He's an outstanding and smart defender. He annually comes up with about as many steals as personal fouls. Like, I don't know if y'all realize how hard that is to do. Golden State, the best part about their defense is when they are forcing turnovers. So Jimmy fits that part like a glove. He gives them positional size on the wing. And then offensively, even though he's not necessarily known as a three-point shooter, his movement ability playing off of how Golden State plays, again, it's a seamless fit. And he does what the Golden State Warriors have been terrible at all season, especially with Jonathan Kuminga missing games, and that's get to the free throw line with high volume. His free throw rate is outstanding, and he gives the Warriors just a compliment to what they already do with Steph.